for those who are not into philosophy that listen to this podcast, so I can explain it to people. So there's a very common debate in philosophy and science, actually, called the free will debate. A lot of scientists and philosophers debate this. Some people, such as Sam Harris, you can look into this, he would say that humans don't have any free will. Every action that you take is a product of your environment and your genetics. Even when you think you're actively improving your life, it can all come down to like you are programmed by your genetics to even make the decision to change your life. That's what some people believe, and other people believe that's a bunch of bullshit. You have free will and you can choose, you can change anything you want. Or, I mean, to a degree, depending on what, but you understand what I'm saying. So where do you stand on this debate? If it's something that you've thought of or didn't think about, do you think in your opinion, based on your life, do you feel like you have free will over your actions, or do you really feel like you're kind of just like a programmed robot doing things?
I think it's a mix. So I think I'm somewhere in
Yeah.
the middle, because I think, yes, we are products of our environment, but I also believe our environment can be a product of us to an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent, right? So
Yeah.
like there's people like, for example, schooling, right? So you go to school, college, whatever, and you want to be this. Okay, so now you think you're going to achieve that, but then along the way you've accumulated thousands of dollars in debt.
Yeah.
When do you truly believe like you're successful, right?
Yeah.
So now systematically there's an issue, right?
Yeah.
In the schooling system. Let's
Yeah.
just use that as an example. So it's sort of like you think about it and you're like, all right, I made a decision to be in a better spot in my life, but X, Y, and Z has kind of kept me from really achieving that.
Yeah.
I also believe in like certain parts in I guess, parts of the government. They want poor people to stay poor.
Yeah.
You know, in the top 1%, they want people to stay up there, so they don't want people to progress forward.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not speaking completely factually, but it's just a theory I have. It's something I've thought about to an extent. But I also believe like in our own bubbles, we are also able to make decisions that put us on like a better path.
Yeah.
Now we also make decisions to put us on a worse path.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just life in general. You kind of like
Yeah.
trial and error to an extent. So I believe that, okay, you have a good thing. You continue making good decisions to build,
Yeah.
you know, because that's, I guess, that free will in our little bubble.
Yeah.
Or we try and like, you know, go off the path and we learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Or it works out. So it all depends, because I feel like it's one of those things where we can make decisions and think we're making better decisions for ourselves, and sometimes it just doesn't work out because we're just not meant to be there.
I guess like, so I agree with you 100% that it's a mix, because I've thought about this myself too, and I'm like, it has to be a mix. Like, to me, it has to be a mix, because there are sometimes I think about like, why did I decide to pursue piano? Well, for one, I naturally have a good ear, so it was something I gravitated to naturally. Like it wasn't like, oh man, I want to be a pianist, and I had to like go out of my way to learn how to do it. It was something that I like naturally, I had the skill since I was a kid. So that's one reason. It was genetically factored in, right? And then also, why did I decide to like really push myself through challenges? Because I had childhood trauma that made me like want to prove myself or something like that. So it's like I could see the perspective that it's like, yes, I had the will to do that, but it was like certain environmental factors and way I was raised in my genetics that pushed me to do that. But I still believe, like, I almost feel like I still believe that the fact that I can even build awareness, the fact that I even just voice that out loud, the fact that I have awareness of that means to me that there has to be some sort of free will outside.
Correct. Yep.
Of, because I don't think as a human being, like I would have even be able to have the awareness or be able to know that about myself, to see myself from the outside and like, oh yeah, I did these things, but it was because of these factors. How could anybody even like know that or realize that unless they had something else outside of themselves? You know what I mean? So I agree with you wholeheartedly that it's like there are a lot of things that just kind of happen based on these factors, environmental and genetic, but I also think we have this like incredible ability to grow awareness.
Right, and we make our own decisions, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's for better or worse, I mean, that moment we may not think it's for worse, right? Because nobody wants to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
But we have that free will to make those decisions and try and better our life and better where we want to be. Sometimes it just doesn't work out and you got to be like, all right, I can just go to the default plan.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of just revert back. but you got to try, right? I mean, you can't just sit there and just accept your destiny, accept your fate.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a healthy way to live either. You want to be able to progress and kind of evolve in some aspect.
That's why, to a degree, I think it's like not even responsible to say that there's no such thing as free will, because if you do that, people are going to be like, oh, well, there's not. Well, then
why
I'm
should
just
I
going
even
to
try?
Yeah, I'll just smoke cigarettes,
Yeah.
like, because that's my genetics want me to do that.
Exactly.
So fuck it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? So I feel like, to a degree, it's like, I don't. If scientists know the truth that there's no such thing as free will, they shouldn't tell people about it.
Right.